I'd like to introduce first Creative Director from Gun Interactive, Mr. Ronnie Hobbs. Yeah, that's right. Coming up next, we've got somebody that you all recognize, Mr. Kane Hodder.
We're going to anyway, so.
Now we have the motion capture artist and voice of Julie, Miss Scout Taylor Compton.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have the designer of a brand new Leatherface. You might have seen him, Nicotero Leatherface, out now on all platforms. We've got Mr. Greg Nicotero.
Howdy alert.
Hi. Hey guys. Hi everybody. Look how great this is. This is awesome. First panel of the weekend. After this one, everyone can go home because it will not get better. Guaranteed. Money back. No, wait. Never mind.
You're up.
Yeah, so thanks for coming. I know it's early in the day and it's the beginning panel, as I said, but once again, this is Matt, I'm Ronnie, obviously Kane, Scout, and Greg. For those that don't know, we made Friday the 13th, the video game, 2 months ago, with Kane, and 2 months ago, roughly, almost, right, exactly, time flies, we launched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And, of course, Kane Hodder here played Leatherface in our game, and did a fantastic job, so give him a round of applause.
Well, thank you very much. I loved working with these guys on the Friday game. When they asked me to do the mocap for Leatherface, I was honored because, you know, I stunt doubled RA as Leatherface in the third Chainsaw movie, but, you know, I didn't really play the character, so I was very happy to try to make the performance reminiscent of Gunner because he was a good buddy. And we started, I started my doing appearance career with Gunner at Spooky World way back in the day in Massachusetts. So I loved how he played the character and, you know, doing his famous chainsaw dance for the game was pretty amazing.
Before we move on to Scout, just so you know, we put him in cowboy boots and a leotard, of course. Not many people have seen that footage, but if you've never seen
There's photos, I hope, right?
we will send those out next week. When we go
When are you dropping that footage?
we'll make sure you know.
But you can buy that version, right? That's the cowboy boots and the...
We should.
So I have a funny story though. The night that you doubled RA on Chainsaw 3. So I've worked on 4 Chainsaw movies, I think. And that was the bloodiest night. I don't know if you remember. It was one of the bloodiest nights on any movie set I'd ever been on. So there's a character who gets thrown up against a tree, and Leatherface shoves a chainsaw through her body, and it's supposed to come out the other side of the tree.
Classic.
So they made oh, there's a baby here, good.
Nice.
So anyway, the tree was a fake tree, and it was rigid foam, and I was lying on the ground with a blood spray because Jeff Burr wanted the blood to be backlit, like this would be. So I'm laying on the ground, spraying. Kane's above me with the chainsaw. We had a dummy and it was waving its arm. And they say action, and I'm spraying the blood straight up. And it goes straight up and then turns and comes straight down. And the take was about 45 seconds long. And I think I posted on my Instagram a while ago a picture of me and Kane. I was literally, like I had a garbage bag on me. It was just blood from here down. And a picture with Kane with the Leatherface mask on. So it was probably the bloodiest day on any movie set ever. So there you go.
That's awesome. I didn't know that story. For Scout, just so everyone's clear, she did the mocap for all of our female characters and for all the female victims at Texas Chainsaw Game. Of course.
I got killed over
Yes.
And it was dope.
The reason we chose Scout, obviously from her work on Halloween, she's an incredible actress all around, but I remember when we were talking with Kane about trying to find someone who could believably die or believably look injured. We kept going back to you in Rob Zombie's Halloweens and the way that you were being chased while you were injured. And Kane and I had about 20 phone calls before we even contacted Scout trying to find someone who could pull this off. We never told you this, Scout, by the way.
No, wait, keep going. I want to know.
We had a list of about 50 girls just from watching. I mean, we watched probably 100 horror films because, you know, everyone's seen them, but when you have to point out, oh, who do I remember from a movie, you forget. So you have to rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. And finally, Kane called one day and said, what do you think about Scout? And I looked down at my list and I was like, yes, she's on my list. I just put her on my list as well. So both of us simultaneously had you just in our mind without even talking to each other. And it was the perfect kind of fit. So yeah, I never told you that story, but we're glad you were on the game with us. We killed her hundreds of times, not only Kane, with a real live chainsaw without the blade, obviously. If you've never been chased by Kane with a chainsaw, I recommend it. It's pretty fun.
Many people have.
It was pretty intense, like doing that shoot. I mean, how long did we film for? 7 days?
I mean, that was just one shoot, and then we had multiple shoots.
Then we had reshoots.
Yeah.
But I mean, every time I'd be called, they're like, okay, this person's gonna kill you this way, but we're gonna try 3 different ways to do this kill. So really you're gonna get killed 4 times. Now we're gonna switch you over to this guy and kill you maybe 5 times.
If you get it in the first take.
Yeah, if you get it in the first
Sorry,
take.
everything was perfect except their foot blended into your body. So
Yeah.
poor Scout, she did a wonderful job for us. And of course she did the voice of Julie, one of our favorite characters in the game, for those that do play. That is Julie. And Julie's kind of based on Scout too, which I never really told her that. So I'm glad.
She's a badass.
She's a badass, yeah.
She's a fucking badass.
Yeah, she's got lots of style, you know. So that's how we came across Scout, and it was awesome to see her working. And if you're wondering about how Nicotero got on board with us, Wes Keltner, our CEO, and he famously designs the butts in our game, for those who follow him online. Yeah, so of course we did the Savini Jason on Friday 13th, so this time we knew we had to do something bigger, right? Really, essentially to us was who can make us a new Leatherface, and once again, we had another list of names, but it wasn't very long. And he was at the top of every single list that anyone had in our office, and
I'm surprised you didn't have Scout do it since she was on your other list.
she was number 2. Yeah.
She was number 2.
Yeah, so, yeah. So, and then, you know, for the past, how long, a year or so at least, we've been going
It's tricky because, you know, working on The Walking Dead, the first thing that I was concerned about was I didn't want it to, you know, we had these characters called the Whisperers that had skin that was made from zombies and stitched together. And they were really a really creepy villain on the show because they looked like Michael Myers and they looked like Jason. They looked like characters that had no expression. You just saw the face. And that's one of the things that's really interesting about designing these killers is the less expression on their face and the less opportunity you have to reason with it to not kill you. That's what makes it like viscerally scary. So that was the first thing was like, you know, I kind of went back a little bit to some stuff that we had done on part 3 where it's like you actually visibly see body parts. You know, we talked a lot about do we just take the skin or do we stitch elements of the skin together or do we stretch elements of it so that when you look at it from a distance, when you're doing makeup effects and things as well, you have people, when your actor's sitting in your chair and you're doing makeup on them, you're 3 feet away, but the camera's rarely 3 feet away. The camera's usually much further away. So you have to get the sense of what it's gonna look like standing in a dark doorway or coming at you because that's the beginning of that suspenseful moment is what impression you're gonna have. So that was one of the first things we really wanted to do, was make sure that it had a great silhouette. You start designing the overall form of it, and then you get into the detail later.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have some awesome drawings at home, but can you describe Nicotero Leatherface?
Well, what I was going to say was, anytime you create a new character, especially somebody as important as Leatherface, you know, you go through a lot of iteration, and there's a lot of ideas that come across, and then, you know, kind of tuning them, and, you know, you think of it like the rock in a tumbler, and it eventually turns into a very pretty stone. One of the first drawings that I had seen had the mouth And everybody universally at gun. There's a face that makes up part of Nicotero Leatherface where the open mouth is like mid-scream in death. And that's what makes up one of the eye holes on the Nicotero Leatherface. And the minute that drawing came over, everybody in the office was like, well, 100% that stays. That's never going anywhere. That's got to be there. So props on that.
I remember Wes called a meeting. Get in here. Get in the conference room quick. Get in the conference room quick. Like, what's the problem? We thought something's on fire, right? He's like, look what he did. Look at this. And it's a giant face screaming from the mouth hole on this side. So if you haven't seen Nicotero Leatherface, you should check it out and look it up.
Yeah, we have to make a mask of it.
I agree.
All right, I'll get on that.
I agree.
That was like the second
Right
thing
on.
we discussed. We were like, now we need a real one, you know?
Yeah.
But people don't realize what it takes. So when the guys reached out to me, you know, I have an artist that I work with at KB named Mike Broom, and we're really good at sort of bouncing ideas off of each other. And I say, try this. You know, he's been one of the key designers at my studio for years. But it's not just the face. Then they're like, okay, what's the stitching look like? What does the hair look like? Is there hair punched in the face? And then we got the face right, and I was like, okay, guys, this has been great. And they're like, no, wait, what about the body? I'm like, what? I'm like, well, yeah, what's his body size, and what kind of shirt does he have on? I'm like, I don't know. I just know what the face looks like. So it was like, it was much more of an all-encompassing design phase, because you're not just, you know, traditionally, if you're dealing with like a makeup effects character, you design the face. But then it was like, you know, how far are his sleeves rolled up? How much blood is splattered on his clothes? So it was much more like producing a TV show, like Creepshow or Walking Dead, where you have to like think about all the elements. And then the people that have to bring it to life, the artists, you know, the renderings that the guys did was great. I went up to Lexington and toured the facility and was just blown away by everything. I mean, it's just, the realism it's pretty disturbing.
Yeah, then we had to get the chainsaw.
Killed you 700 times. Yeah, I saw the chainsaw.
Brand new chainsaw, so that it's not the Poulan.
Well, hold on, not brand new. It's new to us. New to Leatherface chainsaw. It's a 1950s David Bradley chainsaw. It's just the meanest looking thing.
Yeah.
So when we were, again, you know, the early designs were mask, and then, you know, all through the clothes and all of that, he needed a saw that matched that, and Wes Keltner, our CEO over at Gun, picked out this saw. It's nothing, it looks like a tractor with a kill you bit on the end of it, you know, and it's the nastiest saw.
I can't believe it's a real saw.
Yeah, there's a version of it that has 2 bars and 2 chains. It's unreal,
Yeah.
but yeah, so a saw befitting, you know, and I'm not just saying this because we're sitting here with him, but you know, next to the original, my favorite Leatherface version to date is Nicotero Leatherface. So
Yeah.
a saw that lives up to that hype, and that 1950s David Bradley did the trick.
Just so you're clear, we normally have a laptop and we show lots of things, but what we didn't want to do is bore you with trailers and behind the scenes footage when we have these 3 legends up here. So we wanted to allow more time for you all to ask questions about the game, and or maybe a question you have just for these 3 individually that you've been wanting to ask them. So you want to
I think we're
go...
about ready for that. We have some
Yeah.
microphones in the aisles, and
And the lights are pretty bright for us, so we can't,
Yeah, I
can't
can't
see
see
you.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we like even maybe turn the light? What do you think? Turn the lights on for this? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, because we can't
I
even
see
see.
2 boobs of lights just
There's
right there.
See, I thought it was 2 UFO aliens.
yeah. Scout says
No, there's something wrong with this. It should be the other way around, by the way.
I keep thinking
that's what
it's
you-
headlights. It feels like headlights on a highway.
It
No,
is.
the-
See testicles.
Well, okay.
Well, that's in the shot. That's right in line with your normal thinking. So the lights didn't change. So we'll
No.
just. It's probably not a light person just waiting to touch.
Now
it.
it's 4 boobs.
Maybe if
No, it's Close Encounters.
can the other lights come on?
It's an
Maybe
alien
that'll.
movie.
If someone can find the lights, let's just hit it.
I think it left.
Any switch you see.
If somebody has a chainsaw, chop those lights down.
For some reason, every time I hear the word lights, I look at them though, and then I have that blindness.
Yeah.
now,
Yeah,
so-
that's happening to me right now.
So I do want to say one other thing, interestingly enough, about what these 2 gentlemen do. If there was ever a trivia game, everything you need to know about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, my money would go on these guys. Like,
Thank
they
you.
have to do a deep dive. Like, they know, like, what kinds of coffee cans are in the cabinet in the set of the original movie. Like, you guys should talk a little bit about that, because that really impressed me, that you guys have to, the level of detail in recreating the original locations and the original sets really kind of blew me away. So I think that's something that I would like to hear.
Before Ronnie takes over here, though, I will say
Good
that at Gun, one of the things that is really important to us is there's a lot of horror games out there, and they're great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything negative about anything. They're awesome, but they kind of exist in a game world where you jump in and you know this is the game. And at Gun, our goal is always to make sure that when you jump into Friday the 13th, you feel like you're at Crystal Lake. If you jump into Texas Chainsaw, you feel like you're at the gas station, you're at the family house, you're at those locations, you're in that moment. Because as much as we're making multiplayer games, our goal is always to make cinematic moments for you guys to experience. That's the interactive in Gun Interactive. That's what we do. That's why a Texas Chainsaw, you know, that's why these games matter. In my mind, in Gun's mind, it's one of our core principles. So if you're gonna really get lost in an experience that feels like you're playing in a movie with your friends, it needs to look the part. And with that comes years and years and years of studying. 4 years, you know, if we go back to the beginning, we were watching Texas Chainsaw. We went and did a reference trip, and then I'll shut up, I apologize. We went and did a reference photography and photogrammetry trip, which I won't bore you with the details of that because I'm a photographer, but basically, if you said, take a picture of every inch of your hometown so you can recreate it in the world. That means all the clovers that are growing, the weeds, the flowers, the birds, the clouds, the trees, and on and on and on. And then the locations. And when we did that, we were out in Lockhart, Texas, was home base for us for about a week to 10 days. And we sat there multiple nights running over the Blu-ray of Texas and pausing frame by frame by frame and bickering, arguing, to the point of shouting and raising our voices over, no, that's more navy blue, not royal blue, you know? And that goes into what we do at Gun. It's something we take a lot of pride in.
Yes.
I mean, this is like my first introduction to video game making, and I was shocked by how long it takes and how intricate it is. What was like the hardest part of creating this game for you guys?
I mean, as Matt said, it's 4 years of your life. So, you know, in pre-production, that's kind of the fun part where Matt mentioned a trip to Texas. We went on about 7 of those, and we spent months in Texas during COVID and after COVID, which was nice for traveling, by the way. You know, literally the only person on the plane. That was pretty awesome. But, you know, just taking in the environment. I drove around Texas, and so did Matt, probably 7 times the entire state, just living in a SUV, meeting people, going to small towns, getting stories, trying to find the backstory for these characters. What town are they from? Talking to people and just exploring every inch of Texas that you can. Some dangerous, some not, but taking photos just to try to recreate the world so that when you play our game, you're in Texas and not a video game. Yeah. So, and that's not even to do with the characters. When we were creating the new characters, you know, Sissy and Johnny, and another one that is not out yet, you know, one's a serial killer, which is Johnny. So we spent a year researching serial killers, and Sissy's a cult member, and so we even went to some real life locations where either cult members had lived, or where a lot of killings had happened, and spoke to people that were close to it. We did a lot of research just on the characters, which people normally wouldn't do. We went to, I'm not going to drop the names of where we went. I don't want to publicly say where we went, but
We did a lot of trespassing too.
or contacting people in advance.
Here's the putting this into perspective for a lot of you people. When you make a movie, you have 3 months prep, maybe 4 months. If you're doing a huge movie, you might have 6 or 7 months of prep. And then when you're shooting, I guarantee you the amount of detail in terms of how long the grass is or where the leaves are. Like when you're filming a movie, you just take what you can get.
Yeah.
Like if it's cloudy that day, it's cloudy that day.
We're gonna make it work.
That's right. And you have to be able to, you know, sort of land on your feet when you're making a movie. But you guys, like, I guarantee you, Toby Hooper probably didn't dissect the frame as much because, you know, when you're making a movie, you have a whole team of people. The set dressers come in and they put skeleton bones here and a lampshade here and they put a candelabra over there, whatever. And that's part of the magic in making movies is that collaborative spirit of sometimes a mistake becomes one of the most interesting elements. So the amount of time that these guys have dissecting, which might have been a mistake. There could be something in the Texas Chainsaw game that was a mistake in the movie that makes it into the game that, you know, that shit happens all the time.
Yeah, we have to recreate the movie as well too. So we can't, none of that exists when you create it virtually. Like in a movie, you can location scout and you can find a house. And that house is built. You may have to change it, dress it, but there's a real life location. When you make a video game, it's blank space. So we have to fill it in with every rock and blade of grass. So we have to create the whole world, but also do it in a way that's authentic to the movie so that super nerds like us can't tell the difference. Oh, that's the wrong coffee can, or that's not the right flowers. Those aren't the right trees that
And
grow
it
Texas.
shows. You guys should be really
Yeah,
proud of
so
yourself.
that's the long, hard work is just recreating something that doesn't exist only on film, right?
That was a longer way to say the thing I was going to say. I was just going to make the point that we have to obsess over how long the grass is because when we start there isn't any grass. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's a grayscale room, you know, and everything in it is things that we put there. So we have to know and do that with intent, which I think is it's really interesting detail work, and I love it. I think it's a lot of fun, but it also sometimes can be anxiety-inducing because you're like, oh,
we missed something, or
yeah, shit, that corner. What was in that corner? I don't know what's in that corner. Well,
they didn't
and then
show
you're
it, right?
putting Blu-rays on, and you're frame by frame in it, and you're like, oh, there's nothing in that corner. Cool. That was hours of stress and worry over literally nothing.
You guys get to go back and fix that.
Fix it, yeah.
Like if we're shooting a scene and like somebody's standing on the blood tube and she's getting killed and Kane's killing her, it happens all the fucking time. If you're standing on the blood tube and you're pumping blood and the director's like, why is there no blood? And then the killer raises his foot and all the blood sprays out and hits the ceiling and the wall.
On top of Greg again.
And the camera, you're in trouble. So, you know, and you just sometimes, you just gotta go with it. They're like, oh, we don't have time to do another take. So you guys actually can go in and finesse. So that's what, again, makes it great.
We also got to create the bedrooms of the hitchhiker and the cook because you never see those in the film. We got to recreate the rest of the house that you don't see in the film. We got to fill in the blanks. Thankfully, Kim Hinkle worked with us on that and trusted us enough to take his characters that he created. And where does the cook sleep? Does he have a bed or a mattress? Right? He's he likes to keep himself clean. So he sleeps on a bed, but the hitchhiker obviously sleeps on a dirty mattress filled with filth. So we got to do that, right? And
that's what I'm sleeping on this weekend too. That's
hey,
so weird.
It happens.
Who's each of your guys' favorite character?
In the game?
Yeah, it's like
Julie is my girl. Just like
That's what I want to hear.
And Sissy's my favorite killer.
Yeah, I think I would go with Connie because I just like Connie. I like being able to pick locks quick, you know.
Yeah.
We have
And
people
the
lined
hitchhiker.
up. There's people lined up.
Okay, we should do that. I can't see.
We're just gonna keep talking.
Yeah.
Just ask your question and say your name.
Hey, I'm John. And
John.
as a hardcore fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I really appreciate the attention to detail that you do and convey. You know, for us nerds, it means a lot. My question is there something in the 2003 movie remake that you thought was even a little better or unique than the original, or something that was lacking that you thought could have been better?
I go by that house every time I'm in Texas. I make a trip just separately just to see that house because I think location-wise, it's a perfect place. I love that they found that place. It took a lot of work. The house to me stands out as something that's very, very creepy. Every time I look at it, even in real life, people live there, by the way, and so you can't go trespassing. It clearly says that, by the way. But it's a very interesting place, and those aren't easy just to find. You don't just accidentally find the perfect house. It takes a lot of work, as they can attest to when you're making a movie. The rest of it, I think, I was a fan of it when it came out, and I'm still a fan. I think it started the whole reboot, right? The whole line of horror reboots. It came out before Friday the 13th, so it was one of the first ones. So it should get its credit for that, at least, you know. But I enjoyed the film.
Yeah, I love that movie. I think that there's a lot of great takeaways from it, but also we set out to create. You have to start with the original. That's like kind of where the heart of that franchise belongs. So that '74 film. So yeah, I don't really look at it that way, but in terms of how I feel about the '03 remake, I mean, I think there's a lot of good that came from that, and it introduced a lot of really interesting characters, and
it made Leatherface different and menacing in a different kind of way, which we hadn't really seen. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
And you guys probably know the process of motion capture being certainly different than being on a film, because as a performer, you have no makeup, you have no wardrobe, typically. So it's a little strange when you first start doing it, because, I think it's fairly easy to bring violent rage for myself, and often too much off the set. But anyway, it's just bizarre to wear spandex and sensors all over. But what I didn't realize until we did the Friday game, that I could stand on the motion capture stage, which is just kind of a grid work on the floor, and I could look at a monitor and see myself already animated live as the character, which I didn't know was a possibility. So now I could do some movements while watching the monitor and see if I liked what it looked like, what it was going to look like when it was fully animated. So that certainly helped. And then, we did, at times, I did wear a Leatherface mask, especially the lipstick one and stuff. And
a chainsaw helped.
And a chainsaw, yeah, a real chainsaw, which, until you tried to do the chainsaw dance with a real chainsaw and realize how fucking heavy that thing is when you're going above your head. I never appreciated Gunner's performance until I tried to do it.
That's something you can only do at the end of long filming and you're pissed off, which is what he did, right? Now you understand why it worked and why he did it, because all the rage.
Well, I have a funny story about Chainsaw 3 real quick, talking about weight of chainsaw. So we made a fake head of Ken Foray, because in the original cut of the movie, he gets killed with the chainsaw. So we made a gelatin head, and we filled it with blood. And we wanted to do a test, but we didn't have a chainsaw. So we drove up the street in Chatsworth and rented a chainsaw. And it was like $28, and I put like my driver's license on the counter, and I said, I'll be right back. We drove to K&B. The head was strapped on top of a dumpster. I put a Leatherface mask on and chainsawed it in half. And it looked great, and we filmed it. And then, of course, what I didn't think about was all the blood got sucked into the motor of the chainsaw. So it was all like, Caro syrup and food coloring and shit. So I wiped it off and then drove back to the place and said, here's your chainsaw! Grabbed my ID and just took off. So I was waiting for the next person to rent it, going, there's blood dripping out of this chainsaw.
Some of the video footage of you running in, throwing a bloody chainsaw, and running out. They haven't solved that case yet.
Whose idea was it to put his family on the blade?
Dave Scow, I think. Dave Scow wrote that script.
Next question, or is there two lines or just one? I'm sorry, we can't see.
I think it's just one.
Okay, good. Okay.
There's a lot of people online.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's do it. Yeah, let's do it quick.
Hi, my name is Raina, and I have a question. I know that the current Texas Chainsaw Massacre game is multiplayer, and you keep talking about all of the time and consideration you went into the setting and everything. I was wondering if you're ever going to have like a story mode. I want to be able to play it, and I don't want to have to rely on other people. Like, I just want to explore. I don't know if it's been announced yet, but
Yeah, I understand.
I would like that. Maybe, please.
I like that idea. Just say it.
It's something we've thought about, obviously. The issue is, the reason we make multiplayer games is because when you're playing against other people, it changes the game dynamically, and in real time, you're trying to outsmart another human. And that's what provides the variety and all the dynamic moments of you can't tell what that character is going to do because you don't know them, and sometimes you're playing against yourself when you switch sides. You're trying to outsmart yourself because you know what you did as a victim. So now as a family member, you're like, okay, I remember as a victim going over there, so maybe I'll go there. So you're in a constant battle of trying to outsmart people, whereas if it's AI driven, there's only so much variety you can do there. So we wanted you and your friends to live through Texas Chainsaw film or Friday 13th film. So a lot of our resources get devoted to that because for us it's hard to do both. Like on Friday we didn't have the single player challenges, and obviously that's something we've thought about, but I can't say anything. We appreciate it.
That would be really
Yeah,
cool.
we do
Like a little
appreciate
tiny-
the need for it and the want for it, and it's not lost on us.
Yeah.
I can say that much.
I'm just a lonely person, so.
I play like
play with
myself.
you.
Yeah.
Well, look, we can have Kane chase you around with a chainsaw. Trust me, you won't be very lonely after that.
I'm already
Yeah.
bloody, so you can't miss me. So. Okay.
Can't even see it.
Yeah, we stepped forward. We can't even see you.
Oh my God, where were you?
There you go.
Oh,
There you
cutie
are.
pie.
Aw.
Well, nice to meet you.
See, look, now you have a whole new room of friends.
Play with
That's
her.
Raina.
All right, who's next? What's your name? What's your question?
So my name's Patrick, and I was wondering if, as the game creators, you guys ever anticipated the world record challenge for how many times you can stab Grandpa?
Well,
Stab Grandpa.
Oh.
I knew that was going to be a popular part because of the idea of, we had the technical test and people didn't have their grandpa perks, which, for anybody who hasn't played, grandpa perks help you significantly in the match. Because players hadn't seen that, we knew that they weren't really motivated to stab grandpa, but we kind of knew that once that cat got out of the bag, people were going to be realizing how powerful they were, and therefore on the victim side wanting to de-level grandpa. So the world record stabbing of grandpa, no, I don't think that we knew it would be quite that excessive, but
We didn't know people would stab him and go 10 feet away and hide in the shadow and stab him again and just do it all day. And the family sat there and not swing at the dark shadows for some reason. It felt like a Wile E. Coyote skit or something.
I do have a cool little bit here for you guys. Some of you might know this already, but Kane actually has another mocap credit in Texas Chainsaw.
You're stabbing him.
Oh, yeah.
He's Grandpa.
So every time you stab Grandpa, think of
You're
Kane.
stabbing Kane. Is that really what you want to do?
Alright?
Yeah, we're on the stage.
You remember that,
I
right?
remember that day you were Grandpa.
Yeah. He's in the chair and you're being.
And my head was in the bucket.
Yeah, that whole scene. Yeah, and you were trying to feed
Kane was like,
you.
wait, how
Yeah.
do I do this?
We're feeding
We
Kane's
gotta do
blood.
it again.
Yeah, Ronnie says, why don't we have you play Grandpa too? And I said, yeah, right, okay. So what do you really want me to do? Grandpa. And I said, really? And
And you have to suck on our finger. We're gonna feed you blood.
yeah.
And he was like, so.
We got another question over there?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I was just wondering what it was like recreating the looks and mannerisms of the hitchhiker and the cook.
Yeah, that was something we obviously had to study for a long time because, the camera's not always on the cook and the hitchhiker. They don't have their own films, right? So there's sprinkled in various moments of getting mad or the hitchhiker being crazy. So we got two really talented people to do the motion capture. Sean Whalen, your buddy, does the hitchhiker. And Troy Burgess, who used to be a dancer and he spent time with Whitney Houston and all, he's an old school guy and he can still move. He's very agile, and he's also an older guy, so he can do both. But yeah, it was a lot of study in those two characters because we didn't want to just hire someone who didn't know the characters or to not do it justice. So they probably practiced for 3 or 4 months just trying to get the mannerisms down, and then we practiced on mocap and then we shot multiple takes. So it was a lot of fun, but I definitely wanted to get it right.
I just want to give another quick shout out to everybody who did mocap because everybody that came in to do the mocap for this game knew the characters to an extent that, anything that had source material. Sean studied Hitchhiker and that whole, role, but also with his experience from People Under the Stairs, he kind of had a little bit of that. So he had the shifty good guy, he had to switch it to shifty bad guy. And Troy being performing artist, he's used to studying how your body moves as a dancer, and so being able to recreate the cook was really
And
something.
Christina Cleve played Sissy, and a guy named Doug Meir played Johnny. So they all just did that. And of course, Leatherface here and Grandpa. But yeah.
I didn't play anybody.
Next game.
Not yet.
I think I should kill Nicotero in the game somehow.
Fine. I can run like a motherfucker.
It doesn't matter.
You better just
Have you ever seen any of my movies? Does that ever matter if they
I've worked on half of your movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yes.
I know your tricks.
You got a question?
Probably knows
I think
more
there's
than
someone
anyone.
there. We can.
There's somebody there, I can see.
Yeah, I think there's a couple.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
My name is Carl, and my question is for Kane. I was wondering, because you did the motion capture for Leatherface, the movements and how he ran, did you also do the squealing and grunting for Leatherface? Because I noticed that there was a lot of, because you guys went into so much detail that you also went for his like concerned noises and angry noises as well.
Well, I did make a lot of noise. I didn't realize that was you, but he's an old buddy. And, you know, whenever I play characters like this, whether it's mocap or film or whatever, I make a lot of noise, but whether it's used or not, I don't think it really
It was
was.
a voice actor named Lex Lang who actually did the grunting and all that, because it's 4 hours. Lex
Who did
Lang.
that?
Lex Lang. To grunt and do that for 4 hours straight, a Scout can attest, doing VO screaming in a booth for 4 hours, you lose your voice, and so it's very, very difficult. So shout out to Lex Lang. So
You have no idea. After that session of recording for Julie, I think I did it in 2 hours. I was so exhausted. I mean, you like you said, you get 3 months to film a movie, but imagine doing a whole fucking movie in 2 hours. It was so crazy. Oh my god, I was drained.
she wasn't, she did great. So
I do have to note, it was a weird day when they did the Leatherface VO work because, like Ronnie said, it was hours of a person just grunting in a
big
microphone.
noises, snorting. So the whole office is like,
Hey,
what's
let's hear
happening?
some of your
Great day
grunts.
at the office, let me tell
It
you.
was on a conference.
Come on, Kane.
Speakers are playing.
And actors hate that part too.
I love it.
You do?
I love an ADR booth. I love
See,
it.
we've done a couple animated creep show episodes, and you know, you go through and you do all the. Kiefer did one of them actually, and Danielle did one. You go through all the voices and all that stuff, and at the end, the animator's like, okay, so we need what's called efforts. So it's like you're walking up the steps, and you start making all these noises. And I remember after about 30 seconds, Kiefer's like, yeah, I'm done. Do you need any more of this stuff? I'm like, no, he's good. It's fine. But it's funny because they'll ask for all these different grunts
I love it.
and sounds really.
I just think it's so cool how people can create sounds, you know, like for movies and stuff. Like I always loved like
Yeah,
Universal
Foley artists,
Studios when
yeah.
you went to the special effects and you got to see
How they create
everything.
every noise you hear.
It's
Yeah.
such a talent. I love
It
it.
is a talent, and like, underappreciated one.
Yeah.
Luigi.
Yeah, I could see you.
Oh yeah, I was just ready I'm just ready for a second myself, so yeah. I have I've decided to do 2 questions, either I'm going to close either a voice-acting question or a simple question. What is your favorite game of all time?
You have a favorite game of all time?
Me, my favorite game of all time?
Oh,
Frogger.
yes.
It's nerdy. Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite game.
I was the king of Frogger.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Throwback.
Love it.
I like Bioshock. I think Bioshock's one of my favorite games.
Yeah, Bioshock Frogger.
Yeah, let's go.
Nice.
And by the way, Bioshock's a horror game. Anybody that tells you it's not.
It's sci-fi horror. It's like Alien. Yeah, it's horror.
I kind of like
got
Fallout.
room for like-
I kind of like Fallout.
2 or 3 more questions.
Oh, Fallout's a great game, man.
Yes. Nice. Scout, quickly, do you have a favorite game?
So,
you
Mario.
saying? Oh, sorry.
Which one?
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
No, it is though, actually, that's just.
Is there a way to lower the microphone?
We can hear you actually, you're doing good, yeah.
My name is Quinn, and my question is, will anything from the second movie ever be added to the game?
We currently have the rights to part 1. Each film is separate rights. Of course, we want that. You know, of course, we want everything, the whole franchise, if we had our choice. So, just stay tuned.
Yeah, short answer is we would like to have every movie represented in our game.
Yeah.
We're fans like you guys are, but you know, there's things that go into that, and so know that we're fighting for it. So
Yeah, the more popular the game gets, the more that people who are in charge of those movies see it, and so yeah, we're
Tell your
definitely. Yeah. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Jonathan. huge fan of the Friday the 13th game. I
Thank
know at the end got a little bureaucratic, maybe, you might
Yeah.
say. Were there any things that you learned to avoid that with Texas Chainsaw, or was it easier because, was it just an easier process? Because I know Friday is sort of like a bureaucratic nightmare.
It was definitely easier because it's just Kim Hinkle. We're just working with him.
Yeah.
There weren't companies involved and multiple people, and so yeah, nothing's ever bulletproof. You know, like we couldn't have seen the lawsuit between Sean and Victor coming. There was nothing we could do to prevent that. That just happened, and we were a casualty of that. But this time, of course, we took all those lessons into this, and of course, Kim Hinkle's aware of that, and we spoke to everyone well in advance. So yeah, it's just him this time, and you know, he's been working with us every step of the way. So that's good. Yeah.
The law is there to protect screenwriters and help them claim properties and things like that. It's happened all over horror. Clive Barker and Hellraiser.
Yeah.
So working with Kim, the original writer.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw.
Kim's not going to come sue himself.
Right. Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah. Thank you. Last one, I guess. Yeah.
Howdy, I'm Danny, and my question is in regards to Grandpa's vocal cords. How did he get such strong vocal cords?
That is, what's funny is, I'll try to make it as quick as possible. That's awesome because, yeah, Grandpa, this takes
By the
place.
way, you look awesome.
Yes.
You look so cool.
Oh.
I love it.
Oh, Chop Top logo. Yeah, Chop. Our game takes place 4 or 5 months before the film does, so it takes place in March, April, and the whole time we were developing, Grandpa was kind of stagnated. He did some things, but we wanted to turn him into like the Eye of Sauron, kind of this big creature, even though he doesn't do that in the film. We made the gameplay decision and the creepy decision to make him scream. So yeah, he screams a little more than he would in the movie, but it was pure gameplay driven. So that's why.
I think it's funny that never before has that question ever been asked on this planet.
I love it.
About Grandpa's vocal cords.
And we appreciate the question too.
Hi. There's some hard-hitting questions here. I believe I'm the last one asking a question, but I love the TCM game. I love Gun Interactive. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Laurie. Quick question about the game. One, I love the cosmetics that have come out for the survivors, the different skin for Leatherface. I was wondering, are we going to have some other cosmetics in the futures, different modeled kind of skins instead of different colored outfits? Also for the killers as well.
No, these are
Well, you play Friday the 13th, right? I mean,
Well, that just answered it.
Here's the thing.
That's
it. Yeah. The short answer is we would love to do a lot of things like that, and really what it comes down to is as long as folks like yourself are out there playing the game, we're going to continue doing what we can to make it interesting and cool for you guys. That being said, we don't have anything to reveal at this time, so stay tuned to all the usual channels for that kind of stuff.
Of course. Will you guys be having any events coming up for like holiday season or something like that?
We have a series of events planned. The situation with the game, again, similar to content, it's really a matter of how far the community wants to run with it. And right now, we're lucky to have near 5 million people playing our video game and supporting it, and those passionate fans are all over all of our channels. So we're going to keep doing what we do and trying to bring you guys cool new shit to enjoy and game for as long as we can.
is there a light switch in here, by the way, that we can actually turn the whole thing on?
Let's flick them.
Is there anyone?
I don't think anyone is back there.
We're all just hanging out now.
Oh yeah, I see someone's head.
Someone by the door. Is there a light switch?
They were murdered like an hour ago.
Great.
There's a severed hand on the light switch
Well,
right
Kane
now.
was here the entire time.
I just want. Hey,
Oh God, Jason's
we got to wrap it up.
We're getting told to leave.
We have a table, but by the way, who has a birthday in February? Raise your hand. What's your birthday?
Leap year.
Wait, I do.
What? Catherine.
Mine's a leap year.
What is it?
7.
Yeah, actually the 7th?
Yep.
Okay. Who's October?
Oh
Anybody?
yeah, come up.
You come here, yeah, you won.
You won.
October?
Yeah.
October what? You're the only.
October. Go on. 22nd. 22nd. 14th.
You got it. Okay, August 6th. I mean, who has in August? I changed it.
I have an August.
August.
August 30th.
Hang on.
August 30th.
It's actually 13th.
And May.
There you go.
Yes. All right. We have more
are these at our table, by the way.
Guys,
Here, get your
you
nuggets.
come on up here, the four of you come on up here, we have a nugget from in-game plush that you can get. And make sure you stop by our table, we're in the lobby.
We're gonna give away some more at our table.
We have posters, we have all kinds of fun stuff to give away, so stop by, say hey.
A round of applause to these three legends. Thanks for coming in, you guys.